Please forgive me for interrupting your intense chanting. I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy name which are to avoided written by Srila Vyasadeva in the Padma Purana. Number 1, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scripture in reference to the Vedic version. 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to an imagination. 6, to give some introduction to the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritual activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sanga conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Arvind Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji, I didn't get your name, Mataji.
Shivani Mataji.
Shivani. Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vandana Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna Vinta Ganradhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Priya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, respected Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, all Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devi Dasi from Nara.
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembled devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. I think Mataji has joined. Can we start recording, Mataji?
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Welcoming to the Bhakti Sanga conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Guru Vandana Mataji. Mataji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 7th chapter, verse number 34. Mataji is the first time giving on this platform. Before diving into the call, I will hand out the call to Sureshwar Sham Prabhuji to give brief introduction of Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Here is a brief introduction about Mataji. Her Grace Guru Vandana Devi Dasi got her first initiation in 2009 from His Grace Shankarshan Das Adhikari, who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Mataji's sevas include various services in ISKCON Delhi, book distribution, prasadam cooking, festival services, and from 2011 onwards, Mataji has been cooking Raj Bhoga, and she also serves as the servant leader for the Bhakti group. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll hand over the call to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, assembled by Vaishnavas. I seek your blessings. So let me start with a prayer. Actually, I would like to first thank you all for giving me this opportunity. So let us begin with prayers. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uda Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvatamscha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Angum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Vakam Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Viti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today I have been asked to speak about this topic from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 7th chapter, verse 34. What Prahlad learned in the womb. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nishamya karmani gunanatulyan Viryani lila tanuvikritani Yadati harshot pulakashu gadgadam Protkanta udgayati rauti niryati Nishamya karmani gunanatulyan Viryani lila tanuvikritani Yadati harshot pulakashu gadgadam Protkanta udgayati rauti niryati. Nishamya karmani gunanatulyan Virani lila tanubi kirtani Dati harshot tulakashu gadgadam Rotkanta mudgayati rauti nityati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is liberated. Is my screen visible?
No,
Yes.
Mataji. No, Mataji. Shared my screen. You want to share, Mataji? I was waiting for you to share.
No, I will share. I'll share. Actually, I forgot to share.
Yeah, I saw you were moving something. I thought you will share. That's why I waited. But screen didn't come.
Now
I'm coming, Mataji. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is liberated person. When such a liberated person, the pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnations for the performance of various pastimes, his hair stands on end on his body, tears fall from his eyes, and in spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus, he expresses his transcendental jubilation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's activities are uncommon. For example, when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he performed uncommon activities like bridging the ocean. Similarly, when Lord Krishna appeared, he raised the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years of age. These are uncommon activities. Fools and rascals who are not in the transcendental position consider these uncommon activities of the Lord to be mythological. But when the pure devotee, the liberated person, hears about these uncommon activities of the Lord, he immediately becomes ecstatic and exhibits the symptoms of chanting, dancing, and crying very loudly and jubilantly. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. So let us connect with the last verse. Yesterday, you would have heard the last verse yesterday. So I would like to little bit connect how Srila Prabhupada is bringing these verses in flow. So in the previous verse, Prabhupada gives about the sadhana bhakti in his purport. See, once one's first duty is to approach the spiritual master, the representative of the Supreme Personality of God, to begin rendering service to him. Prahlad Maharaj proposed that from the very beginning of life, a small child should be trained to serve the spiritual master while living in the Gurukula. So this is the beginning of spiritual life. By following the instructions of the Guru and the Shastras, the disciple attains the stage of devotional service and becomes unattached to possessions. Whatever he possesses, he offers to the spiritual master, the Guru, who engages him in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. The disciple follows strictly and in this way learns how to control his senses. So this verse, now Prabhupada is beginning like this in the translation. So one who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses. So under the bona fide spiritual master, a devotee is learning how to control his senses. So as he engages in service, as he is now fixed in a liberated position, and then when he becomes a pure devotee, as soon as he hears about the transcendental qualities and activities, he shows these ecstatic symptoms. Actually, first let us see the context. Prahlad Maharaj, actually he was preaching his classmates in his school, he was preaching about basic philosophy in tidbits. Okay. The classmates were very much surprised. One day they asked Prahlad, from where did you gain all this knowledge? So we are all in this campus. We are only seeing our spiritual master, the two sons of Sukracharya. We are getting all the teachings from him. How come you have gained so much knowledge? From where did you get? So when these little boys inquired, Prahlad Maharaj revealed that when he was in the womb of his mother, who was under the shelter of Narad Muni, he learned this. When Narad Muni explained this philosophy to his mother, seated in the womb, he learned all this philosophy. So Prahlad Maharaj now gives this philosophy to these little boys. So he starts with the basics only. Actually, he gives throughout this chapter the basics only, the basics of philosophy and futility of this material world. He explains about spirit, matter, and he explains about this material world, the basics only. And suddenly, in this verse and the next verse, he gives a very high philosophy. Actually, he explains about symptoms of a pure devotee. The love is manifest, and then the tears and hair stands on his end, etc., happens. So it is somewhat he has sandwiched basic philosophy this side, basic philosophy the other side, and in between he has given this very high philosophy. So now Srila Prabhupada explains about this, about the liberated devotee here. He's a pure devotee, and he hears the transcendent qualities and activities of Lord's incarnation. So Prabhupada says, whenever, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, whenever there is decline in religious principles, the Lord mercifully incarnates. So when he descends in this material world, he performs so many activities. They're all very transcendent. So what happens is, when such activities of the Lord are heard, actually these activities are very uncommon. This is what Prabhupada is saying in his purport. For example, when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he performed uncommon activities like bridging the ocean. Similarly, when Krishna appeared, he raised the Govardhan hill. So these uncommon activities are very, very pure. So pure devotees are able to understand it. So when they hear this, they actually develop transcendental qualities. Elsewhere also, we can support this with Srimad Bhagavatam verses also, how these qualities are developing. Actually, Uddhava, when he meets Vidura when he meets Uddhava. So Vidura inquired about Lord Krishna, Balram, and other family members. As soon as Uddhava hears Krishna's name, he goes into trance. Actually, he experiences pain of separation. And then he thinks about Lord Krishna, his pastimes. And as he remembers, he gets deeply absorbed in those pastimes. When he gets absorbed like that, he attains union in separation. He attains union of the Lord. And then he becomes calm, quiet. And once again, Vidura breaks his trance by asking further questions. And once again, then he feels the pain of separation, where tears flow from his eyes. All this we can see. Actually, this is very beautifully explained. This quality is very beautifully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Another verse is there where I would like to share that verse also. Now, 1 minute. Yes, the qualities. I just wanted to explain it. Yes, here it is. I'm going to share it. Are you able to see the screen? Hare Krishna, are you able to see?
No, Mataji.
The screen is not visible. Okay, then without the screen also, let me just read that verse for you. Actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29, 11, 12, actually, this the Lakshanam Bhakti Yogena, how the transcendental qualities is manifested is explained in this verse. It is very wonderful verse, so that is why I thought I should read this, so that we will understand more better about the transcendental position. So he says, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatir Avikinchana Yata Gambosha Ambudo Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Hi Udartam Haituki Avya Vahita Ya Bhakti Purushottame. There, actually, Prabhupada says the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to the hearing of the hearing the transcendent name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Lord. So it cannot be stopped. Just like Ganges flows naturally towards the ocean, devotional service cannot be stopped. So when they hear about the names, the transcendental eruption is immediately manifesting. So the basic principle is in this is unadulterated pure devotional service. Actually, these qualities, actually, no, they are all nirguna. Lord is uncontaminated by modes of material nature. So he is very attractive to the pure devotee. So pure devotees, there is no need to practice meditation to attain such attraction. Pure devotees already in transcendental stage. And the affinity between him and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is natural. Okay, so the word avichinna, without interruption, is very important. Actually, no material condition can stop the flow of devotional service of a pure devotee. So our Haituki is also without reason. He does not render service for some benefit, First symptom of unalloyed devotional service is that anya bala ashita sunyam. He has no desire to fulfill by rendering devotional service. So such devotional service is meant for the Lord, Supreme Personality of Lord, the Godhead. Then it is also avyahita, that is without cessation. So the pure devotee engages in service of the Lord 24 hours a day without cessation. His life is so molded that at every minute, every second, he engages in some sort of devotional service. We are also able to remember this when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited South India, okay, there was a Brahmana in Sri Rangam. He was actually reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Actually, he was an illicit Brahmana. Based on the instructions of his spiritual master, he was trying to read Bhagavad Gita. But since he was not literate, he was not able to even hold the Bhagavad Gita properly. He was holding it upside down, but he was reading. And all other Brahmana friends, they were laughing at him. Oh, this Brahmana is illiterate. What is he reading from Bhagavad Gita? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees this Brahmana, he understood that he is not an ordinary, he must be a pure devotee. So he approached him. Oh, Brahmana, what are you doing? I am reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that's fine. You're reading Bhagavad Gita. Then why are there tears in your eyes? Then he says, oh, my Supreme Lord, who is omnipotent, omniscient, such a powerful, wonderful, sweet, my Lord, Sri Krishna, for the sake of his devotee, he's taking an ordinary role. His position, he's Achyuta, but he's taking a role here as a chariot driver. So when I just even think of it, I'm just experiencing something very emotional. I'm not able to control my tears and hence I'm crying. So that is the state. The Brahmana, though he was illiterate, he was in a transcendental position. So Lord Chaitanya embraced him. So there are many, many examples like this. So now let us come to our state. We are in this mundane world. When they are in that state, they are able to relish. Whereas we are, particularly people like myself, 24/7, engaged in mundane activities. So what is our status? Our status is that with material intelligence, our intelligence is so much polluted. We are into so much sense enjoyment. our mind, intelligence, etc. is highly polluted, contaminated, that when we try to even read this, sometimes we don't even understand. With our material intelligence, when we try to read, in some cases, they derive. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also that Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanmashritam. So when I take human form, actually these fools and rascals derive. Even Prabhupada says in this verse that fools and rascals, they don't understand the meaning of the pastimes. So they are not able to relish. This is because their intelligence is highly polluted. So actually, with a normal intelligence conscience, they're not able to accept this. So sometimes what happens, it also results into atheism. Actually, the soul cannot become an atheist. We cannot become atheist actually. How come? Because soul's nature is eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So one of the functions is this knowledge, this chit feature. If you deny it, for example, this atheist, what he does, when he reads this philosophy, he doesn't accept it. He denies it because he's illusioned. Too much into self-sense gratification. He thinks, I am the controller. He's centered around himself. So he's not able to accept. He denies it. When he denies it, he's not able to get satisfaction. When devotees read this, even now, when I'm reading, so I'm not a devotee, but we are all assembled here. When we are reading it, when we are hearing it, I am getting benefited. All of you, all are getting benefited because Krishna is very pleased when he sees the devotees Bodhayantasya Parasparam. When they do it, Krishna is very pleased. So we derive some satisfaction. Whereas these people who try to use their material intelligence, they will not be able to derive any satisfaction. They simply derive, but ultimately they don't get any satisfaction. So by using material intelligence, we will not be able to be successful. So even if some people have some faith in the Lord, okay, even then what happens is that they don't understand the personal aspect of the Lord. It results into Mayavada philosophy, or it results into impersonalism. The one who doesn't have any faith, he actually becomes an atheist, and he produces many profound atheistic philosophies. Whereas this person who is having faith, what he does is he goes into Mayavada philosophy because his mind and intelligence is polluted. He's not able to actually understand. Or sometimes, even if some people, they have faith in personalism, what happens is that since they are having that, they are using their material intelligence to understand, they sometimes become sahajiyas. That apasampradaya crops in. So what Prahlad Maharaj is telling here is to his students, see, these students are all very, very new students. They are very new to Krishna consciousness. They do not know anything about Krishna consciousness. So Prahlad Maharaj, when he is giving this basic philosophy, to get the taste, he also introduces this high philosophy in this verse as well as in the next verse. So they will get the taste. So what Prahlad Maharaj is trying to tell here is that you have to elevate, you have to purify your intelligence to understand this. So he's bringing up slowly, he's taking us step by step higher. So you have to become pure. So purification, we can understand by means of two aspects. One is this anartha nivritti. So this is how the process starts. So we already saw in Sadhana Bhakti. Since I'm having some problem in sharing the screen, I'll just, from my memory, I'll speak. So in the last verse, we saw how a person, a devotee, under the shelter of the spiritual master, he engages in Shravanam Kirtanam under the guidance, and then he slowly progresses. So the Anartha Nivritti is a stage where he takes, the Bhajana Kriya is a stage where he takes initiation. Then under the guidance of the spiritual master, he then practices devotional service. So what happens when a devotee takes initiation? He takes vows in front of the spiritual master. What is that vow? No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication. So he promises. Why does he promise? Actually, it is somewhat a situation is that he's saying, he's expressing to the spiritual master, my dear spiritual master, actually, I'm in so much conditioned state that I have, if I don't promise this, what will I will somehow get, once again, I may get attracted to the bad habits or bad propensities, which I already have. So I may get deviated. So to restrict myself, that is why the vows are all there. The two, you're actually stressing yourself, you're restricting yourself such that you stay. So this is some sort of negating the negative part of this philosophy or of this path. So negating the negative part. So then, not only in initiation vows, in whatever in Vedic practices you can see, even if there is a marriage ceremony, a vow was taken, so that there is a temptation to fall always. So we want to restrict ourselves from that. So even in vows of celibacy, everywhere, these vows are there. So this process is somewhat negating, not this, not this, not this, not this. So this process, if it continues without any, what to say, without some positive engagement, it's sort of negative, isn't it? Negative negation is what is happening. So what happens is it becomes a little dry. So generally, they seek for something else. So that is why Prabhupada has given us this process of chanting the holy names, then reading the scriptures. So he insists on reading Krishna book. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, what he says is, if we keep this process, Anartha Nivritti, if one only focuses on the process of Anartha Nivritti, what happens is that slowly he'll become impersonalist, because he has not developed the relationship with the Supreme. Even the great liberated souls, you see, Mayavadas or some impersonalists, they are actually very pure. How they follow this neti philosophy. They follow not this, not this, not this, and finally they are very disciplined. Actually, they are liberated because they are free from this lust, greed, madness, anger, illusion, envy, everything. They are all free from all this contamination. But what happens, even if they become liberated, since they are not able to relish this transcendental supreme Krishna consciousness, what they ultimately is, they fall down. This is what is the result, actually. So that is why there should be positive engagement. So that one aspect in purification, there were two aspects which I mentioned. So one aspect is Anartha Nivritti. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says in one article, that article I have read, wherein he says there should be Artha Pravritti. That is positive engagement to understand what exactly we are doing. That process should be understood. Only when will we understand? When we engage in devotional service. This is all positive engagement. Hearing about the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. So actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, if you don't hear these pastimes, how will we develop affection? How will we develop attraction towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So we have to read these pastimes. We have to read these pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna with gopis, with gopas, and with Mother Yashoda, etc. So only when we read, so along with this Anartha Nivritti, where we have these don'ts, we have to also do this, do's. This is positive engagement. So then we will be able to progress. So even Prabhupada, actually what happens is that everywhere we have to be very cautious. Here also there is a trap in Anartha Nivritti. What happens is that without proper guidance, if we are not under the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, if we read the pastimes ourselves, what happens is without philosophy, without proper siddhanta, then it will result into sahajas. So they'll start imitating the pastimes. I have seen, but who am I to comment? But we have to differentiate. We are in ISKCON. We should know to differentiate who is a bona fide devotee and who is not. To some extent, at least, we should know, isn't it? So I have seen this. I have seen in Vrindavan once, a devotee was saying, I'm already married to Krishna. She's always carrying Krishna everywhere. But I do not know about that stage. She says she's already. Another example which I heard is a person actually in this mundane world, an IPS officer, he started wearing tilak, bindi, and he started wearing ear studs. He was sometimes started wearing sari, etc. And he says himself that he is Radharani himself. In that way. So, since they don't understand, without proper philosophy, if they take up this, it results into the sahajiyasm. Sometimes we have seen some devotees artificially dancing and jumping and clapping and rolling and all that. But actually, Srila Prabhupada, you see, when he also turned emotional sometimes. But we can see the difference. Srila Prabhupada, once when he was talking about his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, or I think about Bhishma Deva, or when he was singing this Jaya Radha Madhav. So actually suddenly his voice choked, tears were actually flowing. But what happened is he immediately restricted himself. He controlled. As Sahajiya, what does he done? Oh, he shows himself. See, I am such a, Prabhupada would have showed, oh, see, I'm in such a big stage. I'm such a pure devotee. You can see the symptom. No. Prabhupada controlled. He restricted. He either changed the topic in this lecture or he closed the discussion. So in that way, we can understand. In ISKCON, we see that wonderful pure devotees, so elevated, exalted devotees, they never show these symptoms. So our process, because we are all now in struggling stage, so we should never imitate. We should actually, the positive, when we are having this Artha Nivritti, we should also have this positive engagement of Artha Pravritti, but everything we have to do under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. So this, I have some more verses to actually tell about how Krishna is also explaining about this Anartha Nivritti. But unfortunately, I do not know why I'm not able to share. So I will just read that verse also. So we will get some knowledge about it. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, in 11th canto, 14th chapter, in verse number 22, Krishna says, Dharma Satya Dayapeto Vidyava Tapasanvita Mad Bhaktyapetam Atmanam Na Samyak Prapurnatihi. So, in translation, what Krishna says is, neither religious activities endowed with honesty and mercy, nor knowledge obtained with great penance can completely purify one's consciousness if they are bereft of loving service to me. So, mere Anartha Nivritti will not help. It's not complete in itself in purification process. So that is what, although pious activities like religious work, truthfulness, mercy, penances, knowledge partially purify one's existence, they do not take out the root of material desires. Because the same desires will reappear at a later time. At an extensive program of material gratification, one becomes eager to perform austerities, acquire knowledge, perform selfless work, and in general purify one's existence. After sufficient piety and purification, however, one again becomes eager for material enjoyment. Actually, this is all our status only, particularly mine. When clearing an agricultural field, one must uproot the unwanted plants, otherwise, with the coming of rain, everything will grow back as it was. Pure devotional service to the Lord uproots one's material desires, so that there is no danger of lapsing into a degraded life of material gratification. In the eternal kingdom of God, loving reciprocation between the Lord and his devotees is manifest. one who has not come to this stage of enlightenment must remain on the material platform, which is always full of discrepancies and contradiction. So everything is incomplete and imperfect without loving service to the Lord. So this is what Krishna is insisting about, how this Artha Pravritti should be there. At the same time, we should also be very careful without the guidance of the spiritual master, because this whole sadhana bhakti which we are doing, it's under the guidance of the spiritual master in association of devotees. So sometimes after practicing for so many years, I have now, and even many times, I myself, and also when I discuss with my friends, I can feel that after chanting for so many years, still sometimes I feel, oh, bored. I'm not able to chant. So I fix myself for namesake, I sometimes chant, and I'm not able to chant. This is all because of this anarthas inside. And similarly, okay, when we try to read a book, sometimes I'm not able to read continuously Srimad Bhagavatam. All this is all because so much material distractions are there in this world. But still, Lord Shri Krishna gives encouraging statements in Srimad Bhagavatam. He understands our condition so nicely that whatever we are experiencing, he gives solution in Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, he says in the next verse, he gives a very encouraging statement to Uddhava. This is actually Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-18. Bhadyamanopi madbhakto vishair ajitendriya praya pragalbhaya bhaktya vishair nabhibhuyate. It is, my dear Uddhava, if my devotee has not fully conquered his senses, he may be harassed by material desires. But because of his unflinching devotion for me, he will not be defeated by sense gratification. So, abhibhuyate indicates falling down into the material world and being defeated by Maya. But even though one's senses are not fully conquered, one who has unflinching devotion for Lord Krishna does not run the risk of being separated from him. The words pragalbhaya bhaktya indicate a person who has great devotion for Lord Krishna and not one who desires to commit sinful activities and chant Hare Krishna to avoid the reaction. Because of previous bad habits and immaturity, even a sincere devotee may be harassed by lingering attraction to the bodily concept of life. But his unflinching devotion for Lord Krishna will act. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following two examples. A great warrior may be struck by the weapon of his enemy, but because of his courage and strength, he is not killed or defeated. He accepts the blow and goes on to victory. Similarly, one may contract a serious disease, but if he takes the proper medicine, he is quickly cured. If those who follow the impersonal system of speculation and austerity deviate even slightly from their path, they fall down. A devotee, however, this is very interesting, very, very encouraging for us. A devotee, however, even though immature, never falls from the path of devotional service. Even if he displays occasional weakness, he is still considered a devotee if his devotion to Lord Krishna is very strong. As the Lord states in Bhagavad Gita, Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhav sadhu evasa mantavya samyag vyavasito hi sa. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So we should not be discouraged when we are harassed by our old bad habits. There is also an interesting verse for this, which Yamunacharya Let me see if I'm able to get that verse. Yes. So Yamunacharya, he actually, when he was born in a very pious family, he was very intelligent in presenting the philosophy with arguments and counter arguments. So what happened is once in front of Pandya king, this happened in South India, in front of the king, he defeated that king by presenting some arguments and counter arguments. So both the king and queen were very pleased, and he also gave them a name, Alavandar, that is one who has come to rule. So what happened? Then they actually gave a portion of their kingdom and they made him king. Okay, this person, now he was ruling, he was enjoying all opulences. Many wives were there, many queens were serving. He was enjoying actually his kingdom. But a Vaishnava tricked him. Actually, he took him to a great exalted devotee, Ramanujacharya, and then seeing the deities and the devotional practices, he becomes a very pure devotee. So then he once, though he is practicing, still that old habits are there in his mind. So it once in a while comes. So that is why he just gives a beautiful prayer. Yadavati mama cheta Krishna padara vindayor Navanava rasadham anudyati rantumasit Tadavadi vattanari sangame smarayamane bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishtivanam cha. That is, as soon as I think of sex intercourse, immediately my mouth becomes turned aside, turned towards, actually, I spit at it. This is what he says. So, what we learn from all these things is, even if we are discouraged, if there are some distractions, if we are strongly fixed in our devotional practices, we will be able to turn victorious. This is what it says. So, with all these encouraging verses, we can also see one more verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Krishna explains, he actually concludes about the importance of pure devotional service in this verse. So he says, Katam vina roma harsham dravata chetasa vina vinanandarshu kalaya sudhyer bhaktya vinashaya. If one's hairs do not stand on end, how can the heart melt? There in that verse which we saw, the 34th verse, when the devotee hears his his hairs stands erect. Here it says in the reverse way, but actually everything is related away. If one's hairs do not stand on end, how can the heart melt? And if the heart does not melt, how can tears of love flow from the eyes? If one does not cry in spiritual happiness, how can one render loving service to the Lord? And without such service, how can the consciousness be purified? Actually, in this purport, Prabhupada has very wonderfully explained, loving service to the Lord is the only process that can completely purify one's consciousness. Such service produces waves of ecstatic love that completely cleanse the soul. So we have to underline this, but loving service to the Lord. Lord Krishna, actually to Uddhava, he says other processes such as self-control, pious activities, mystic yoga, penances, etc. certainly purify the mind, as stated in many authorized literatures. Such processes, however, do not completely remove the desire to perform forbidden activities. But pure devotional service rendered in love of God is so powerful that it burns to ashes any obstacle encountered on the path of progress. The Lord has stated in this chapter that loving service to Him is a blazing fire that burns to ashes all impediments. In contrast, the small fires of mental speculation of mystic yoga can be extinguished by sinful desires at any moment. Thus, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can ignite the blazing fire of loving service to the Lord and burn to ashes the network of material illusion. So the process is wonderfully said that we have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, so once I also remember one devotee asked Jananivas Prabhu, Prabhuji, so when will we actually be purified? How many years it will take for us to get purified, etc. They asked. So then what Prabhuji answered is that, I do not know whether I am purified or not. My focus is how best I can perform my devotional service to the Lord. So that should be our focus. We should not be discouraged by our imperfections. So this will all be coming and going, but we should always be fixed very sincerely in our devotional practices. So what Prahlad Maharaj is teaching here is that he is introducing this philosophy while he is actually glorifying the Lord, actually. And then he is expressing about this. That means what we can understand is that, see, when there is sun rays, when it is dawn or when it is dusk, we know that there is sun. When it is twilight, we know that there is sun. So when we practice the sadhana bhakti sincerely, there is certainly, just like when it is dawn, dusk, we know that there is sun. When we see this sadhana bhakti, there is certainly prema bhakti. So we need not be discouraged by any distractions. We only have to sincerely perform. We should know our goal. See, whatever has been described here, whatever symptoms which has been described here, that is this transcendental qualities and activities, when we hear about hair standing on and tears falling, then spiritual voice altering, openly dancing, singing loudly, crying, all this transcendental jubilation is not our goal. We should be very, very clear in that. Our goal is transcendental loving service to the Lord. These symptoms are all side effects. It will come automatically. Actually, we can understand it. Then why should we hear all these things, we may ask. Actually, why we have to hear is that we can understand where our position, what our position is. Actually, when we are sailing, when there is say a ship sailing in the ocean, the sailor actually, he has some instruments to position his ship. He positions with his instruments based on the pole star. He situates the machine such that he can understand where his ship is there. So he will adjust according to his requirement. Wherever he has to reach, accordingly he will adjust. Similarly, if we know all this philosophy, we will know where our position is, where we are standing. So we can understand our position, and by hearing about this advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, we can adjust such that we can further and further improve ourselves and progress in Krishna consciousness. So this is what I wanted to share here. Though I would have made a lot of mistakes because I'm a very imperfect person. So kindly forgive me for committing knowingly or unknowingly. And I would like to thank the devotees for giving me this opportunity. Though I'm coming to this forum for the first time. You have been very encouraging me actually. And especially I want to thank Bhakti Mataji for actually dragging me into this. Actually, I was, I feel very unqualified, and particularly this verse is of very, very high philosophy verse. So I try to hear from various, from Prabhupada and then other spiritual masters, and try to collect all the informations together and try to gather. Actually, I wanted to make it as a PPT, but unfortunately, I did not have time to make it. And I was not also able to fully share all the verses. So I do not know whether I was able to communicate properly with you all. So I would just like to, as a summarize, I would like to summarize today's reading. What we have learned is that this process of devotional service has to be practiced under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And then since we are so much into this, we are actually in the material platform. When we practice also, we will not be able to relish. So there is a purification process which has two aspects. One is the neti process, where is negating the negative part. That is under the nivritti stage. So when we are having this, simultaneously we have also a positive aspect of this path, which is called as Atta Pravritti, where we will be learning about and reading, we will be engaging in loving devotional service. We will be hearing about kathas. Without hearing Krishna kathas, we will not be able to get attraction towards the Lord. So this is also must. At the same time, there is a warning that we should, without philosophy, if you see Krishna book, it is fully philosophy plus pastimes. So we should be balanced. We should, under the guidance of pure devotees, we should read the pastimes. Prabhupada also discouraged Gopi Bhava Club. But at the same time, he never discouraged reading pastimes. So both have simultaneously to be, it has to happen. And if we are strictly following these principles, one day we will be able to achieve perfection in our life. That is, we will attain pure devotional service. So thank you very much. If there are any corrections or comments or lessons, can.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for wonderful class, Mataji. You very well explained, Mataji, and you summarized it too. Thank you so much, Mataji. You have time to take questions, Mataji?
Yes. How long we have this class? What is the next program? We can have for another 10 minutes or what?
Yeah. We can have, Mataji. We can continue our question and answer session.
Okay. So whatever I can, I'll try to.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Akshara Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा
प्रभु जी.
सभी उपस्थित वैष्णवी के चरणों में कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम. Thank you for the wonderful lecture, Mataji. Mataji, when I go to the temple, so the Lord may see me. So, if I feel like crying or some tears come out of my eyes, so should I control it?
Actually, yeah. Actually, see, we have some. We
A lot of devotees are present at the moment, then it feels kind of weird.
Yes. Actually, see, Prabhuji, now we are in this beginning stage of sadhana bhakti. There are some glimpses. Sometimes we show such, but all these, which the tears, etc., it is in very, very pure stage. Really exalted devotees will be experiencing. But in our contaminated stage, also sometimes we experience, we get that. For example, when I was a beginner, I'm still a beginner only. When I first went to the temple, when I saw all the wonderful devotees there and wonderful deities there in ISKCON Delhi, I felt like crying. But actually, devotees explained to me that this is okay, you're crying because you are in need of something. I was actually in need of something. Actually, that relationship between the Lord and we cannot declare that we have achieved the highest stage now, the transcendental stage, where we have fully developed our relationship with the Lord. There is some sense gratification in this crying also. So it is not pure. So it is better not to control, but better be silent and work on how to further progress. That is why we read this verse, to understand where we are. The symptoms and all, maybe some glimpses may be there, but that is not pure devotional service as of now. So in sadhana bhakti, if these symptoms comes, better we keep silent, but at least we should work on it. We should understand, no, I should not now get distracted by this crying and all that. Better be engaged in pleasing the Lord. How I am going to please the Lord. Not that I want something. When we please the Lord, we will derive that happiness. Let me try to please the Lord. This is how our mood should be. So this is what I would like to say, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, definitely. So it doesn't doesn't shift to the Sahajiya bhav in any way,
Yeah.
and it's still
Yeah.
starting. My other thing is like I have a realization that when I chant attentively, I sometimes get a mild tingling sensation in my left hand, and when I'm chanting mechanically, it's like nothing.
Okay, so that is why we should be under the guidance. You must be under the shelter of some exalted devotee, some congregation leader or counselor. You can express whatever, because that datati pradigrahanati guhyam akyati puchati. So your progress has to be, certainly it must be monitored by some exalted devotees. There you can ask, because the symptom from when it is occurring, that we generally do not know here in this open forum. So it is better you discuss these specific questions with your counselor or any other exalted devotee whom we are strongly associating, where we are associating and having a very deep relationship. Certainly he will be able to help you out. So to understand really what your status is.
Thank you very much. I also got helpful information in chat. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for wonderful answer. Does anybody have any questions or realizations you'd like to share?
Somebody has
asked. Yeah, Hemi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Thank you for your beautiful class. I just have a question regarding a small challenge I feel recently. I am just a start beginner. So we are instructed to take Krishna Prasad and refuse anything which is not Krishna Prasad. So I try my best not to be eating outside and restrict everything. But now I have experienced that people are coming to me and offering things to eat. And I'm having difficulty saying no. So how to approach this?
So actually now, I'm still a beginner. When I initially started practicing this, I'm working in an office, so I sit and eat with my colleagues. So earlier we used to share. When I started this practice, I started avoiding. Then they asked, oh, you don't take onion garlic? Come on, we'll bring something for you without onion garlic. So they brought those food and they tried to give me. So then I wrote to my spiritual master. Then he said, no, you don't have to. You just have to avoid. You cook your food because that is not offered to Krishna. That is not. So we have to be very diplomatic here. So you can say to them very lovingly, I am under some diet. You can say something. There are so many reasons. We need not teach those reasons. Automatically it will come into our mind. Because Krishna says, na desham shatataitanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So he gives us the intelligence to tackle such situation. So we have to be strict in our diet. So when we are having some typhoid or something, if someone offers, we straightly say that we are having suffering from typhoid and we cannot, it is very harmful for us. So similarly, this is also poison actually, which is not offered to Krishna. So it's actually sin. So but at the same time, since we are living in this world, we have to be very diplomatically, we can say that, sorry, I am in diet. I will not be able to take this. So you can answer them and you should refuse. We have to take food which is cooked by devotees and offered with love to Krishna. Only that, even one morsel from outside should not go into our mouth, because it affects our consciousness. So this is how, Mataji. Krishna will actually help you. If you are very much determined to follow strictly, Krishna will give the intelligence. See, I travel. My Gurudev, Guru Mata, they also travel a lot and they carry their own prasadam. Once, for some official training, I was sent to Japan for 1 week. So I'm just trying to practice what I'm learning from the devotees. I'm not at all in a very exalted position. I'm just very, very low, struggling with my own anarthas. So I carried my own cooker, whatever it is, and some rice and dal and etc. 7 days I was in Japan. I cooked my own food. I offered it to Krishna and I took. Then along with some other devotees for 10 days, I went somewhere there also. I did my own cooking offered. So if you have that will, where there is a will, there is a way. So you will, all the friends now, all my colleagues, they all know about me. They encourage me now actually. They have stopped giving me, rather they ask prasadam from me. That has become the situation now. So if you are determined, Krishna will really help you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. That's very useful, very encouraging. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Someone in the chat, yes, Mataji. Someone in the chat box has written, Hare Krishna Mataji, how are you, Mataji? How is Guru Maharaj and how is Noida? The thing is, right now I'm not in Noida, Mataji. I was in Delhi, I was in Noida last year, 2022 July. I moved to Chennai. So I am now here in Chennai, practicing my Krishna consciousness in Chennai. I'm now regularly visiting ISKCON Chennai temple.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
nice
you. Oh,
to see you here.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Very nice to see you, Prabhuji. Where are you now?
I'm in US, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I really am so surprised. Prabhuji, you must be initiated. What is your name now?
Yes, Mataji. Rajiv Losan Sakshi Das, Mataji.
Oh, very nice. Jai. Thank you.
Last year just got initiated. Okay. Yes. How the things, Mataji? All well?
All well.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice meeting you here again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question, comments, corrections?
Shyamagauri Mataji. I think there are no more questions, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. So, shall we end here?
Also give your association more often. Shivani Mataji is requesting, thank you very much for very beautiful class, and please do give your association more often, Mataji.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and Krishna willing, for his pleasures and spiritual master's pleasure, I will whenever given opportunity to come. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you all.
Yeah, if nobody have any questions, we'll end the call here, paying obeisances to Mataji and all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
kripa sindhu behecha patitanam Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavatam ki jai.
Radhe Radhe.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Radhe Radhe.
Gauranga.
Radhe Radhe.
Gauranga.
Radhe Radhe.
Nityananda.
Radhe Radhe.